Welcome to Savvy Business, Life Unscripted with your host, Christina Rivera, where our guests share their wisdom and valuable business tips, empowering our audience to expand their personal potential.
Hi, Nicholas. Welcome to Savvy Broadcasting, Life Unscripted. We're so grateful to have you here today. How are you?
Hi, Christina. Thanks for having me. I'm doing great. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing fabulous. You are here at an awesome time. We started a series not too long ago called Post-COVID, Life After COVID. And basically, after a lot of businesses have been having a downfall, a lot of people have lost their businesses, their jobs, and they're like, how do I get back on top with their finances? Now, you found a wonderful way to help people with that. And we're going to go into that further in the interview. But before we go there, share with our audience a little bit about your background and where you are today.
Absolutely. So I'm originally from Germany, born and raised in Munich. I used to play on the golf national team in Europe, in Germany, I should say. Decided to not turn pro, went to college, studied computer science and finance, moved to the US in 2011 to pursue an MBA at Stanford. Out of Stanford, I started a company with the classmates. We were selling used cars online. We raised $10 million in venture funding, ended up selling the business to Carvana. And after 3 years at Carvana, we left to start the new business, Clutch.
Clutch. Well, I'm just curious, what brought you to the United States? Why did you choose to move here?
Yeah, two reasons. A, I wanted to pursue my MBA. I thought that was going to be a really fun experience, taking time off, thinking about reflecting on life and what to do professionally. And then number one. Number two, I really wanted to go into tech and was asking myself, what's the best way to get into tech and becoming a tech founder? And there's no better area than the Bay Area to do it. You can't just move there. Otherwise, you'll start at the very bottom and you need to figure out who's who. And I got really, really lucky to get into Stanford and met a lot of lecturers and professors who had been tech entrepreneurs. And that's why I came, and it worked out great for me.
So, what's interesting about that, Nicholas, would you say college is a good place to actually not only get educated, but to form great networks that you could use later on for business?
Yeah, so a lot of people say the most valuable thing you get out of an MBA is your network. I actually don't like the word network a lot because it's like we have 400 classmates. You spend 2 years, very formative years of your life with 400 people who were selected because they somehow fit in some way together. And so you end up being best friends with a lot of them. Most of my friends in the US are my former business school classmates. And then it happens to be that all of them leave business school doing incredible things. And so if I need to raise money, I don't go through the network of the alumni directory. I'll just ask a bunch of my friends who ended up at this investment fund that I really want to talk to. Or if I want to talk to other founders, well, it happens to be these are my classmates too. So yes, there is the network, but these are friends. Like I'm not asking them for a favor. I'm asking them for, hey, best friend, how does that work? And then best friend tells me how that works. And so that's why I like that notion a little bit more.
You're so right on that. I remember, was it 7-8 years ago, I had started in Manhattan a networking group. It was basically just to come together and grow relationships, share our knowledge, because when you go into business, not everyone knows everything. So my premise was we come here not to throw business cards at each other, but to learn from one another. And how can we help each other from a truly friendship perspective? And you build real relationships that way. And I like that idea of it because, network has become so much like you're just using people. I just want to have a network for when I need them.
Exactly. That's not how it is.
Yeah, exactly. That is awesome. So now tell me, where did the idea of Clutch come from? And what were you thinking when you and your co-founder came up with it?
What were you thinking? I keep asking myself that same question. So when we were selling cars, when we were running our previous business, it was all online, but like fundamentally not super different than a traditional car dealership. People came to us, found a car, it all happened online. And then at the very end, on the checkout page, they needed to select how are you going to pay for the vehicle. And we found that 80% of people who got a loan to finance the car asked us, the dealership, for a loan. And traditionally, what's funny is like people just don't trust car dealers. Like fundamentally, you don't trust a car dealer. But then once you somehow are sold on the vehicle, all of a sudden you trust the car dealer on all your financial products and insurances. And so that doesn't make a lot of sense, but it happens all the time. And so since car dealerships have very different incentives than you as an individual, the car dealership will not give you the loan that pays you the lowest rate. They'll give you the loan that pays the dealership the highest referral fee.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, and this is what we found when we ran our own business and then looked deeper into the market, since 80% of the people who get a loan get it from the dealership, these loans are marked up and you can refinance them and save money already the day you drive off the lot in reality sometimes. Number one. The insight number two, which is even more powerful, unless you have perfect credit, so unless your credit score is above 700, which 68% of Americans have a credit score below 700, if you have, let's call it challenged or near prime credit and make your payments, you migrate in credit into a different tier. So if you are subprime or challenge credit, say below 600 and make your payments for 12, 18 months, you move into near prime. And if you're in near prime, you make your payments for 6, 8 or 12 months, you move into prime. And each of these tiers have the right lender for you. If you're like super prime credit, you should get your loan from a credit union. Credit union don't pay high referral fees, so likely when you got the loan at the dealership, you're not in a credit union loan. And so what we found is if we take people who've diligently and in a disciplined way made their payments, who then migrate in credit, if we refinance their car loans, we free up thousands of dollars for them.
This is really fascinating because my husband and I had talked about this. We have a car we've had for now 5 years. And what we decided to do is we went in and leased it from the dealer. And we found that, when we decided, because they weren't going to make our car anymore, we were just going to buy it to own it.
Buy it out of the lease.
We lost about $5,000. We realized by going through them. And we were like, oh my gosh, we could have done this all along, buy to own. It would have been much cheaper. But not everyone can do that. So, now you've given them an option. Okay, maybe we can't buy to own it. It's just too high of a cost per month.
Yep.
This is another option with knowing that we're getting the best deal. How are you able to create this in a way that's also profitable for you? Because you still are a business.
Yeah, you're right. So the dealerships have a software tool, have two different types of tools. One is called Dealer Track. The other one is called Route One. Same thing. It's a platform. It looks like a spreadsheet really with all the lenders that approve you for a loan. The consumer doesn't get to see that screen though. And as a result, the finance manager in the dealership sees it and he sorts this table by who's paying me the highest referral fee and not by the column who's giving Christina the lowest interest rate. And so we're basically flipping that whole idea upside down. We're showing consumers these sheets or these different options. And so the consumer can select whichever loan he or she wants. Mm-hmm. The problem with the car dealership is if you have, let's say you have room for 200 cars on your lot, if you're really good, you can sell 200 cars a month. Like you sell a car in 30 days. Mm-hmm. You can't sell them much, much quicker. And so unless you build out your lot, buy more real estate or rent more real estate to have more room for cars, unless you do that, you can't make more profit because you can't turn cars quicker. Mm. So as a result, you as a dealer, you try to make as much money per car as possible. Mm-hmm. And that's why dealers need to optimize on what's called the front end, the margin on the car, and the back end, the financing and insurance products.
Yeah.
Since we're 100% digital and don't need any physical infrastructure, like there's no bottleneck, there's no constraint in how many people can go through the funnel and we can serve.
See,
and if we
go.
Yeah, and if we don't need to optimize the profit on each of them, but you can bet on volume helping as many people as possible, then two things happen. A, it's the best for the consumer. And B, consumers reference and refer us to their friends and family. And so then you have this flywheel.
I love it. And this whole model, what's speaking to me right now, and a lot of this series we started post-COVID, Life After COVID, and one of the things we're getting is this is opening up the market to different ways to looking at things and how to serve the market, whatever your niche or gift is that you can bring to the world as a business, offering whole new ways to do that. And you're showing us just one way that you're able to help the market.
Yeah.
Completely digitized company that you don't have to pay all these workers to pay the rent and pay the lights and all that good stuff.
Yeah, you're completely right. It's interesting. We just closed our funding round for the business and we came up with a budget, and only like an hour or 2 hours into the conversation with my business partner did we realize we entirely skipped the line item for rent. Like you don't need rent right now. And I don't know whether it'll ever come back. Like we're a tech company, we're fully distributed. Our team is everywhere. And so if people are more productive working from at home anyway, we might not ever need a rent. And if we can save our overhead, this is all money straight going back into the pocket of the consumer, which is exciting.
Yeah. Now, share with me a little bit about your perspective from that, because you said people you're finding are more productive from home anyway. And I found for years I worked from home, and it's true for me. But why have you found that to be the case?
I think it's not fundamentally true. I don't think it's true for everyone. I think there's two exceptions. Actually three. I find myself very productive at home, but I get only primarily to get things done. If I need to think strategically, if I need a whiteboard, if I need to cooperate with other people, I find it more productive to be in a room where people stand up and can draw ideas on the wall. Mm-hmm. So if you need to execute, great from home. If you need to think strategically, for me, it works better in a room, number one. Other people who have families and noise in the background, obviously you're distracted a lot. That's hard unless you have a good setup. Mm-hmm. And then the third portion, there's still physical things that need to be done, even in our business. Like we have vehicle titles and we have paperwork. Mm-hmm. And so for as long as you work with physical objects that are not digital or as PDF files on your computer, you just have to be in the office to be productive. Mm. But I would not fundamentally say everybody will definitely go back to the office. I think that won't happen.
Yeah. I'm beginning to see a trend moving away from the day-to-day office work that, in some cases you have to go there. Right now, the place I'm working with, they actually have one person to go in to get certain things needed for the week so they can take care of it, but then stay home the rest of the week. And another company we spoke to said, one of the greatest challenges is keeping people motivated from home, because like you said, maybe it's not for everyone. Maybe some people need more motivation of needing people around them where other people don't.
Yeah. Motivation is one aspect. I would phrase it even bigger. It's culture. Like, what do we stand for? What is the brand? We're in it for the right reasons, but why is it? And it's easier to achieve that offline when people are next to each other than online. So you need to make an extra effort. But that doesn't mean everybody has to come in all the time. I think what we'll see is people coming in for 3 days a week, absorbing this energy and culture and getting the motivation, and then going home to get things done.
That's interesting. So at Clutch, now you've started with Clutch. How are you cultivating that culture and deciding, like, how do I put forth our values that we care about and get the right talent?
Yeah, the most important thing is to communicate a lot. So we have early mornings check-ins when people go to work. Like, one thing that slips easily when you work from home is your schedule. And then you're like, I'll take a little longer today, have a little bit longer breakfast. If people don't start at the same time, it's really difficult. So we're in the habit and have this regimen of meeting early morning and then in the afternoon before people start working. Mm-hmm. Number one. Number two is we celebrate small wins very publicly. We use Slack as a messaging tool. There's Microsoft Teams. There's Mattermost. There's a bunch of these teams. Yeah. And it's really important that and team members do it all the time. If something little good happened, share it with the team, and so people can celebrate each other. It's all about communication.
Yeah, I like that talk about the what do you call it? Really celebrating the small wins. I think that gets overlooked no matter where you are, even for yourself. Remembering, okay, you had one sales call that might lead to an actual big sale. Let's celebrate. Maybe it didn't hit yet, but let's just celebrate that where we're at.
Yeah, it's important, especially in early stage companies. You have this roller coaster. If you don't celebrate the small wins, you're just upset all the time, because in early stage companies, things don't always work.
Yeah. So very challenging. Well, this has been such a fascinating talk. I know you've given a lot of people listening in things to think about for their own business, but also they might be thinking, how do I refinance my loan and get with Clutch? How do they do that?
Yeah. So the easiest way to do that is to go to the website. It's called Clutch, the company withclutch.com. And so the goal is to get you from very little inputs to a firm credit offer in no more than 3 clicks in like 2 minutes. And so you go to the website, you enter a phone number, verify your personal information. With consent, we pull up your records. We pull up which vehicles are registered to you. We match them up and tell you, okay, your new credit, your new interest rate would be X and your new monthly payment will be Y. Obviously, we're not hitting anyone's credit. It's all safe. And then if you decide to go with it, we'll put you in touch with the best lender for your circumstance. And that's different for everyone. So it's a little bit of an individual matchmaking process, but it won't take you more than 2 minutes, and we'll do the legwork in the background.
Love it. It's awesome. Well, I have to thank you again, Nicholas, for coming to share your great wisdom today on Savvy Broadcasting. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
You betcha. Take care.
If you like this episode, please share. To hear more Savvy episodes and Savvy Biz tips, go to lifeunscriptedradio.com. To become a guest or participate in paid sponsorship, email us at Christina@lifeunscriptedradio.com.